Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something I like to call the hidden AI supercycle. We're looking at infrastructure, energy, and what might just be the ultimate savior of the whole AI boom, nuclear power. Right now, pretty much everyone is chasing those flashy AI software chips, right? They're trying to catch a quick 5% pop based on whatever headline just hit their feed. But while the masses are totally distracted by that, the smart money is quietly and methodically moving into a massive, completely overlooked space right behind it. Let's get right into it. There's this quote from the source material that absolutely hits the nail on the head for what we're unpacking today. It goes, everybody is talking about the brain of AI, but nobody is talking about what actually keeps that brain alive. And man, is that true. It is so easy to get distracted right now. Retail investors are just hyper-focused on software updates, the new learning algorithms, the microchips. But the real foundation of the infrastructure of tomorrow, it isn't the digital brain itself, it's the absolute lifeblood that powers that brain day in and day out. Think about it. When most of us think of AI, what do we picture? A sleek app on our phone, maybe a simple search bar on a clean white screen. We kind of buy into the hype. But behind every single prompt you type in, there is a massive physical reality. We are talking about some of the absolute biggest buildings constructed in decades, literally filled wall to wall with thousands of GPUs and endless rows of humming servers. These aren't just invisible virtual clouds floating in the sky, they're massive concrete realities, and they require an unbelievable, constant stream of power just to even function. To put it bluntly, the modern AI data center is an absolute electricity monster. It's not like turning on a light bulb in your house or even powering a traditional office building. These colossal facilities have massive amounts of electricity flowing through them nonstop, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The sheer scale of energy it takes to process millions of complex AI queries all at once is just staggering. Actually, it's fundamentally reshaping how we have to think about power generation moving forward, mostly because our current systems, they were never, ever designed for a digital beast with an endless appetite like this. The magnitude of this shift really hits home when you look at projections for the year 2035. Experts are tracking the current trajectory of AI growth and its exponential power consumption. And get this, they believe that by 2035, a single AI data center could consume as much power as an entire major metropolis. Just let that sink in for a second. One single data center requiring the exact same amount of electricity as the entire city of Los Angeles or New York. The scale of this upcoming demand is frankly almost incomprehensible. And well, that brings us to a massive, glaring bottleneck. The source material describes America's electrical grid with this fantastic and honestly almost terrifying phrase, Christopher Columbus old. I mean, we're essentially trying to run this futuristic landscape of hyperscale AI data centers that never sleep, but we're trying to do it using an antique grid designed to power small suburban homes and old-school manufacturing factories. Our grid is aging, it's fragile, and it absolutely cannot handle the unprecedented surge in electricity demand that is just barreling toward us. Now, you might naturally be wondering, well, what about solar and wind? Can't we just build more of that? And look, renewables are great for certain applications, for sure, but they are fundamentally intermittent. The sun eventually goes down, and the wind inevitably stops blowing. But remember the reality of those AI data centers we just talked about? They have a constant, uninterrupted, massive demand for energy. They absolutely cannot afford power dips, fluctuations, or outages. They require baseload power that is always on, running at maximum capacity, no matter what the weather is doing outside. Which leads us directly to what seems to be the only viable solution right now. Nuclear energy has officially emerged as the savior of the AI revolution. It's the only clean, carbon-free energy source capable of providing the massive, constant, round-the-clock electricity that these hyperscale data centers demand. Nuclear is no longer just this, misunderstood legacy power source from the 20th century. It is rapidly becoming the absolute critical backbone for the global AI power race happening as we speak. And this isn't just some compelling theory. It's driving a real-world corporate strategy at the highest levels right now. Big tech knows this power crunch is coming. That's exactly why Amazon just made a massive billion-dollar strategic move. They're investing heavily in a company called X Energy, trading under the ticker XE. This whole push is being driven directly by Amazon Web Services, or AWS, which is basically the backbone of the modern internet. To secure their dominance in the AI space, Amazon isn't just, dipping their toes in. They are aggressively targeting over 5 gigawatts of nuclear capacity.
To really put that 5 gigawatt goal into perspective, the numbers are truly mind-boggling. To give you an idea, just 1 gigawatt of power is roughly enough to keep an entire small city running smoothly. And Amazon, they are looking to secure 5 times that amount specifically for their own operations. It really shows you the sheer magnitude of the infrastructure required here. It's a staggering commitment, and it perfectly demonstrates just how incredibly energy-intensive the future of AWS and artificial intelligence is actually going to be.
So, what makes Amazon's partner X Energy such a profound game changer in this space? Well, it's because they aren't building those massive old-school nuclear plants that take a decade and billions of dollars to construct. Instead, they're building small modular reactors, or SMRs, specifically their XE100 model. These are highly efficient, factory-built systems. That means they're far easier to deploy, and crucially, they can be strategically placed directly next to the data centers they need to power. We're talking localized, rapid deployment nuclear energy built specifically for the modern era. Now, of course, the immediate question people always have when we bring up nuclear energy is safety. And this is where X Energy's underlying technology gets truly fascinating. They use something called TRISO fuel. The source material uses this brilliant metaphor here, describing it as acting like a safe inside of another safe. It's an incredibly stable nuclear material that keeps the energy entirely enclosed and protected. In fact, it's widely considered the safest nuclear fuel ever produced, virtually eliminating the risks that we traditionally associate with older nuclear technologies. All right, so we clearly understand the massive, inevitable shift toward nuclear infrastructure. But how does the smart money actually navigate the supercycle? Well, it's not about blindly throwing capital at a ticker symbol and just hoping for the best. To truly capitalize on this generational shift, you need a strict, highly disciplined system. The execution phase is where fortunes are built and kept, and you absolutely cannot afford to treat this like a trip to the casino. The source outlines very specific, strict risk management rules for playing this sector, and they are absolutely crucial to follow. First off, your caution light flashes at a 10% loss. You have to pay attention to that warning. Now, if a trade goes against you by 20 to 25%, that is a hard, non-negotiable exit. Ego goes completely out the window so you can save your capital to fight another day. And when you do deploy that capital, you don't just look for average winners. You want to target the absolute leaders. You're looking for companies that aren't just beating the S&P 500, but doubling it, proving they have massive institutional backing and genuine momentum. Ultimately, it comes down to this. You can pause software spending, but you absolutely cannot pause the infrastructure once the power race starts. If you look throughout history, from the massive expansion of the railroads to the laying of fiber optics for the early internet, and now to the AI revolution, the greatest, most enduring wealth is generated by the people who own the infrastructure. They own the pipes, the rails, and the power grid. They own the physical reality of the revolution rather than just chasing the digital hype. Which leaves us with a vital question to ask ourselves as we enter this completely new era of technology and energy. Are you looking at the nuclear play, or are you still blindly focused on the software? Are you endlessly chasing the shiny new apps, or are you looking at the massive energy revolution happening behind the scenes that's actually required to keep those apps alive? It's a completely different way to view the AI boom. And honestly, it might just be time to seriously rethink where the future is truly being built.